Welcome. Today we'll explore the deep art of mastering mindfulness in daily life. My journey into mindfulness has been a long and transformative one, and what I'm about to share with you is not just theory but hard-won experience over many years of practice. What I discovered on my path is that mindfulness is not merely about meditation, it's about changing your relationship with every moment of your life. So let's take this time to dive deeper, beyond the surface-level concepts, and explore the advanced techniques that can make mindfulness a way of life, not just a practice. When I first began practicing mindfulness, it seemed like a structured exercise. Sit still, observe your breath, and return your focus when your mind wanders. But over time, I realized that the real challenge wasn't during those 20 minutes on the cushion. The real test of mindfulness began the moment I stood up. How could I remain mindful during a heated conversation? While making dinner, or in the middle of a stressful workday? How could mindfulness permeate my whole life? The first step towards mastering mindfulness in daily life is to recognize that mindfulness doesn't begin and end with meditation. Sitting on a cushion is where we practice, but life is where we perform. Think of it as learning to play an instrument. You practice scales, but the goal is to be able to play music without thinking about the notes. Mindfulness is similar. You train in meditation so that you can carry that presence into the rest of your life. For me, one of the biggest breakthroughs happened during a particularly difficult time. My job was overwhelming, and I found myself constantly frustrated. I was mindful of the cushion, sure, but as soon as I was faced with deadlines or difficult colleagues, that mindfulness seemed to vanish. It felt like two separate worlds, the meditative world and the real world. But the moment I started practicing moment-to-moment mindfulness, I began to notice something. Mindfulness is not about being calm or being zen, it's about being present with whatever arises: stress, frustration, joy, or sorrow. When I stopped trying to control my emotional state and instead simply noticed how I felt, I realized that even the most stressful moments had a certain peace to them if I was fully present. It was in that presence that my frustration began to melt away. One of the most profound areas where mindfulness can be applied is in our relationships, especially in conversation. In fact, mindfulness in conversation is often much harder than during solitary meditation. Have you ever noticed how, when someone is speaking to you, you're already preparing your response while they're still talking? We do this constantly, even with the people we love the most. I remember one particularly heated discussion with a close friend. We were arguing about something trivial, but it was escalating. I was formulating a counter-argument in my head as she spoke, But then I caught myself, was I really listening? Was I truly present in that moment? So I stopped. I let her words land fully before responding. And what happened was miraculous. The tension in the room began to shift. In that moment, I understood that mindfulness in conversation isn't about what you say, but how fully you listen. True listening requires a silent mind. It means being open to whatever arises without the need to prepare a defense or a counterpoint. When you can listen mindfully, without the noise of your own internal commentary, conversations become richer, more authentic, and deeply connected. Now let's talk about something that often goes unnoticed in mindfulness practices: movement. How often are we fully aware of our bodies as we move throughout the day? This was a revelation for me. For years, I thought mindfulness was a seated practice, but integrating it into movement was what truly brought mindfulness into my life. I first began to notice this during yoga. Initially, it was just about following the instructor and getting the postures right. But then I realized, what if I brought full attention to every movement? Not just the big stretches, but the small transitions between poses, the subtle shifts of weight, and the sensation of my feet grounding into the earth. And then I took this awareness beyond the yoga mat. When you apply mindfulness to everyday movements, walking, washing dishes, folding laundry, something magical happens. These mundane actions become gateways to presence. As Thich Nhat Hanh often says, when you are washing the dishes, wash the dishes. In other words, don't let your mind wander to what's next or what you're worried about. Be with the movement. Feel the sensations of your body in real time. It's in these small, everyday moments that true mindfulness is cultivated. One of the most challenging aspects of mindfulness in daily life is dealing with emotions. It's easy to be mindful when everything is going well, but what about when life throws you a curveball, when you're angry, upset, or scared? This is where the real work begins. For years, I struggled with my anger. Whenever I felt it rising, I would either suppress it or explode, neither of which was healthy. But then, through mindfulness, I learned a new way to approach emotions. Instead of pushing them away or letting them control me, I started to simply observe them. I remember one instance where I was in the middle of a frustrating situation at work. My first instinct was to react, but I paused and asked myself, what does anger feel like in my body? Where do I feel it? I noticed a tightness in my chest, a heat rising in my face, and a clenching in my stomach. By tuning into these physical sensations, I was able to create a space between the emotion and my reaction. And in that space, I found freedom. The anger didn't control me anymore. It was just another sensation passing through, like clouds in the sky. This is the power of mindfulness. It allows you to step back from your emotions and observe them without being swept away. Let's move into some more advanced techniques for bringing mindfulness into every moment. One powerful practice is called noting or labeling. This technique involves mentally labeling whatever arises in your awareness. For example, if you're walking, you might silently note lifting, moving and placing as you lift each foot and place it on the ground. I started using this technique during times of intense emotion. Whenever I felt overwhelmed, I would mentally label what I was experiencing: anger, frustration, fear. By labeling the emotion, I could separate myself from it. It was no longer my anger. It was just anger. This practice helped me disidentify from my emotions and see them for what they really were: temporary sensations passing through my awareness. This practice is particularly useful when you're dealing with difficult situations. Whether you're in a meeting at work or dealing with a personal conflict, silently noting what you're feeling can create that crucial space between stimulus and response. As we bring this session to a close, I want to leave you with one final thought. Mindfulness is not about being perfect. It's not about maintaining a constant state of calm. It's about showing up fully, no matter what life throws at you. It's about being present with every moment, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Over the years, I've come to realize that mindfulness is less about effort and more about surrender. When you let go of the need to control or change your experience, you allow yourself to flow with life. And it's in that flow that true peace is found. So as you move forward, I encourage you to practice mindfulness in all areas of your life, whether you're sitting in meditation or navigating the ups and downs of daily existence. With time and practice, mindfulness becomes not just something you do, but something you are. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. May your practice bring you the deep peace and presence you seek.